Greetings fellow hunters, I'm PvPSkillz, and in this video I'm going to show you how to optimize your build in PvP and how to connect with friends and people in general and how to farm gems in Chalice dungeons. And I'm doing this because this game doesn't just reward people who are better at the gameplay. It also rewards people who farm and go to Chalice dungeons and get the best gems. So they're not just better in the game. They also have a statistical advantage which make them just OP to most average players. So in this video, I'm going to start with the basics and then I'll go to the more advanced stuff. Let's begin. So let's start with the weapon. You have to choose your weapon from the beginning of the game. At least know which weapon and which stats in conjunction you're going to upgrade or level up so you can optimize that weapon. For example, the Ludwig's Holy Blade has B in strength and B in skill. So hiring these, leveling up skill and strength is the way to go if I'm going to use this weapon. However, if you look at the Threaded Cane, it has A in skill. That means I will upgrade skill mostly if I'm going to be using this weapon as my major weapon. So after you receive 10 insight in the game, you should go to the merchant that sells insight. And this guy is right over here. This is where you buy the Sinister Bell for PvP to invade other people, Beckoning Bell to host and get phantoms to help you with bosses, and Small Beckoning Bell to actually go and help people with their bosses. So keep that in mind. If you want to go online, you have to go and buy these items. And now let's proceed to the next part. There are a lot of conditions that has to be met in order to connect online. So firstly, if you use a Beckoning Bell or Sinister Bell while the boss in the area is alive, a bell-ringing woman will come and that bell-ringing woman will bring an enemy player to your wall to fight you. However, if the boss is dead, you cannot use the Beckoning Bell to summon phantoms, and if you try to invade, that bell-ringing woman won't come and you can only invade other people that way. However, if you want people to come to your world, you leave the boss alive. And that way you will have the advantage of 30% HP because players who go to another world are actually in a disadvantage and they're handicapped. They have 30% less HP. If you kill the bell ringing woman, this woman right here, if you kill her before an enemy player arrives, no enemies will come. So if you don't want any player to come while you're playing co-op, your first thing you have to do is find this woman and kill her. As you can see in this video, I had a troll who closed my doors, which is bullshit. But yeah, this guy, he came to my world, he has 30% less HP, and the reason why is because I use the Sinister Bell and I try to, destroy someone else's game. So this is one of the basics of, invading, or if you want to call it using the Sinister Bell in this game. There are a lot of areas that actually automatically bring the bell ringing woman regardless of you trying to summon someone or if you're trying to invade anyone. And the two notable areas are the Nightmare of Menses and Nightmare Frontier. And by the way, here's the bell ringing woman again. Every area she spawns in a different place. So remember, if she's there, any player can come. And at the same time, if you're attempting to invade, you can invade other people. So now let me start by how to get very powerful in PvP and at least have equal footing with skilled players. So let's start with how you have to go about in Chalice dungeons. Here is the fastest way in order to go to depth 5 Chalice dungeons. There are 4 types of dungeons, by the way: Pthumerian, Hintertomb, Ailing Loran, and Great Its Dungeon. This is here in order to get it as fast as possible to reach depth 5, because each dungeon has 5 depths. And the higher the depth, the more difficult it is. So depth 5 is the most difficult, and that's our end goal, reaching depth 5 and finishing that one. So here's the order you have to go through to get the materials you need in order to proceed in every dungeon, because there's materials that you have to be using. So after finishing the first 3 dungeons in Pthumerian Chalice, you have to go to Ailing Loran in order to get an item called Bastard of Loran. You'll find it at layer 2, I believe, or layer 3. You need this in order to go to the depth 4 in Pthumerian, which, by the way, most people have the most difficult time in. And here it is, Defiled Chalice, the second boss, Watchdog of the Old Lords. People have a big difficult time with this boss and they get stuck here. So I'm gonna link a description to a very great guy who did a guide how to win this boss, and click an annotation above in order to go to watch his video, and he's gonna be doing a guide for every boss in the Chalice dungeons, the difficult ones. So make sure you subscribe to him if you wanna, you know, find to make it much more easy to go through the Chalice dungeons. After you finish the Defiled dungeon, you have Defiled Chalice dungeon, you have to go to Lower Loran, which you get it after you defeat Ailing Loran, which, by the way, you get this Chalice after defeating Amygdala. After defeating her, you can go Depth 5 Pthumerian, which has, in my opinion, the hardest boss in the dungeons, which is the second layer Bloodletting Beast. And by the way, this guy that I just linked in the description, he's going to be doing a guide against this beast. So make sure you subscribe to him if you want to also beat this motherfucking boss. He just gave me a difficult time. But after you defeat this guy, you get a Root Chalice, which this is the one that we're going to be needing. And Root Chalice is the same depth, but it comes with offerings. You can offer materials to make it more difficult. However, in return, you will get the rarest items in the game. So there are two ways that you can get these dungeons that we want to get our best blood gems. You either do the offerings that you're going to be needing for this one, Depth 5 Pthumerian, which requires, by the way, a bit high of material, especially 2 mold 15, which you should check on the internet how to get. But after you get this, the second way to do it is go to Great Ice Chalice. It's much easier. It starts in Depth 5, so there's no Depth 4, 3, 2, 1, and just defeat the last boss and do all the offerings for this one. Because when you do all the offerings, you get the Root Chalice for the Is Chalice, and you do all the offerings, Cursed, Fuuted, and Cursed, like you see here on the screen, you can after that go to any dungeon in the game. People share Chalice dungeons. Thank God we have a great community who share glyphs. Glyphs, you can't do it, you only can do it online. You search for the glyph. I put the glyphs, now I'm going to be putting the best glyphs in the game. These are the most important, but I also put a link in the description for 2 links in the description. One for the best gems and one for the weapons if you need uncanny and the lost version of weapons. So thank the community and thank the people who made these, because these guys are the best who sharing glyphs. They make our life easier, and all these glyphs are usually, you only need the first boss to know, you need to fight only the first boss to get the best gem, or for example, kill an enemy or a chest in the first layer. So as soon as you put that glyph, you just go first layer and get all the things you need. So here I'm attempting to get the best the best dungeon for radial gems. Radial imprint. Remember the imprints on your weapon so you know which dungeon to choose. This one is the best for radial. And these guys, after you beat the Watchers, which are the easiest bosses that you can find in the Chalice dungeons, you will get a random cursed gem. Cursed gems have the best, cursed gem 6 by the way, they have the best attributes. However, they always come with a random negative attribute, and some of these negative attributes are so bad that you have to farm again, and usually they come in the form of lowering your attack or HP depletion with time. So for example, in this, after I beat this, I get a cursed sharp gem, which is one of the best for scaling, but I don't want this one. Usually I go for the cursed tempering damn blood gem, or sorry, yeah, something like that, to increase physical damage, and the best you can find is 27%. So you farm these until you get the ones you want. The triangle imprint is a different dungeon, different glyph. You'll see them in the link that I'm going to be putting in the description, or you can see them where I just showed the most important glyphs. So yes, now in order to connect with friends, by the way, in order to connect with friends in the game, you can make a dungeon that is Sinister Offering, which is very easy to do in layer 1. And after you do it, you press share. You do one for yourself. For example, me, I'm going to be playing with my friend. I'll do a Sinister Dungeon, layer 1, one of the easier ones. And then after I do it, I press square, share the dungeon online, and then give that glyph to my friend. And he puts that glyph, he will get it for free, no materials needed, unless he didn't do a Sinister Offering. And after that, just go you and him or her to the same dungeon and use the Sinister Bell, both of you, and play freely and train together. Anyways, I hope this is useful, guys. I hope this you find it useful in one way or another, and make sure to subscribe for more guides and share this with friends, so we want more people in the community playing PvP. And thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.